All right, so let's go on. So who am I? Who is this person sitting in front of you who is qualified to talk to you, right? So my name is Imoukhuede. Yes, I have one of those last names, but I can assure you that it gets easier to pronounce when you live with that name, okay? Like I have been doing. So it's Imoukhuede. I'm the founder of Me and I Services. What is Me and I Services? Well, it's a coaching service, right? It's my own practice where I provide life coaching services, academic coaching, and career coaching. Those are the three things I focus on because life coaching is broad, right? But as much as you would like to help everyone, you need to specify or have your niche market. So I focus more on academic and career coaching. Well, life coaching is helping individuals unlock their potential to clarify goals, overcome obstacles, and hopefully create some form of fulfillment in their lives, right? Academic coaching, helping students achieve their educational goals. In a nutshell, improving skills like time management, study strategies, motivation, and help overall improve their academic performance. Then we have career coaching, which is helping individuals navigate their professional journey, offering guidance to define goals, explore opportunities, of course, overcome challenges, which once in a while we all face from time to time. But with my technique, I approach it with a steadfast method in order to help you achieve your goal. Now, some people wondering, steadfast, what is steadfast? Steadfast means more of a disciplined process, right? I think in order for you want to be able to achieve what they want, they need to have a procedure in mind and they need to keep to it, something to hold them accountable to ensure that they're on the right track. So I chose the word steadfast. Doesn't look too harsh, like when you say a disciplined approach, okay? Because not like someone's going to tell you, all right, wake up, you do this, you do that, like when you have those personal trainers who get you out of bed and tell you what to do. This would not be the case, right? But it would be more of a steadfast approach I would be using. But a bit of my backstory, right? So I have an educational background in business and a postgraduate degree in psychology. I am also a certified life coach. So I work as a coach, of course. I also work as an academic advisor. I also teach hard and soft skill courses. So hard and soft skill courses are skills that one needs in order to be academically successful and also to let me use the word, to ensure that their career progression is on the right track. So skills you take into your workplace as well. So things like time management, problem solving, motivation, things that you probably put on your resume, hopefully that will attract the eye of the employer to hopefully invite you for an interview. And of course, when you now see that in front of them at the interview, that's where you show them that you have those necessary skills they need in order to be able to be successful in that job. But then what got me into this, right? Personal struggles that I came across, believe it or not, when I was in the university. I actually wanted to drop out of the university. I felt it was not for me. I had a lot of struggles transitioning. I wasn't sure what course I wanted to do, what program. My dad was a geologist and he traveled and he did wonderful things. And I was like, you know what, that's really a cool profession, right? So I thought I was going to read geology. However, the university took me in for zoology. Close, right? But totally different professions. And so I wasn't happy with that, but that was what I was stuck with. But I struggled with that. And I never found that help or that support or that guidance to help me, right? And that is where I felt, you know what, that was a loophole. That was a missing link or a missing service that I lacked or I didn't get. And I felt maybe others might be having that issue as well. And therefore, I came up with that. I didn't come up with that, but I discovered that saying, be the person you needed when you were younger. Hence the reason why I do what I do. I'm trying to be that person I needed when I was younger to help others who might be in this situation. So let us now go into general talking about life coaching. Life coaching has a lot to do with self-actualization, right? Now, self-actualization is a psychological concept that refers to the realization of one's potential, your ability, right? Accessing your full potential, your personal growth, what you believe would fulfill you, and maybe your purpose in life. Some people still are wandering around like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what it is I'm good at. And it's okay. It's natural to feel that way. Some people found that out at a very early age. Lucky them. Some people are much older in life and still trying to figure it out. So it's a lot of people. So there's nothing wrong with that. But the key aspect to self-actualization is having that self-awareness. I know I'm throwing a lot of words at you, but not too complicated. But we'll get to the main points as I go along, okay? Self-awareness. What is self-awareness? This is what allows individuals to reflect on their experiences, recognize patterns in their behavior, and gain insight into their personal motivation. So it's kind of like you literally looking in the mirror and wondering, or looking at someone and say, who am I? What do I want? What do I do? Someone was ask you that question. What do you do? Who are you? What would you say? Would you start by saying, well, my name is this, and I was born, and I was the second born? No. Or would you tell them the core thing of what you believe you are? I'm a life coach. I'm an instructor. I'm an architect. I'm an accountant. So self-awareness is a key step. It's a key thing in what we're going to be talking about today. So let's start with this little exercise I'm going to give you all. Hope you can see the screen here. It's called, I call it the Wheel of Life exercise. All right. So I'm sure most of you are not ready for this, but I'm hoping you all have kind of like paper with you and a pen or a pencil, something to just sketch or draft, right? So make a circle, right? Hopefully those who are more artistic, you can make a very good round, complete circle. If you're not that artistic, it's okay. You're not going to show it to me anyway, so nobody will judge you. All right. Now divide it into 8. I'll call it 8 pies, right? I chose 8 because it makes it look more in order. All right. 4 would have made it too little, so 6. Okay, but I think 8 will be ideal in this case. Now, follow the instructions that you can see on that circle there, and now put them into different categories. These are the examples I put. You can follow these examples, or you can choose yours. So you can put one family and friends. You can put another one significant other. So if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, if you have a spouse, you can put it there. If you don't have any, you can just leave it as significant other. Then your personal growth. The other one is fun and leisure, home and environment, career, money, and health. All right. Some people choose to put other things. Some people feel they will put, my spirituality. So maybe if there's one you don't want to relate with or you can't relate with there, you can substitute it with anything you feel is more important to you. But these are just 8 that I felt, that came up on top of my head. So whatever 8 you feel is important to you, you can fill it in that circle, in that manner, okay? I just give a few seconds for those who are trying to draw a circle. There might be some perfectionists here who are using the ruler to make sure that the lines are all in order and the spacing is proportional. Like I said, it's not a big deal. No one's going to judge you because no one's going to ask to see it. This is a personal thing for you. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm assuming some people have finished that. Now, put its number score. So from the center of the circle will be a 0 all the way to the end of the circle, the line. So the radius, put it as a 10. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you see each one? So for those who are going to say, okay, personal growth, what scale would you give it? 1, 2, 5, 8. Now just draw an arc across and give scale for each one. So by the time you finish giving a scale for each one and you draw an arc for each one, it should look like something similar to this. Because I would assume not all of them have the same level, right? So they might vary. Now, the goal here is not to have a perfect circle in the middle, okay? It's bound to be that way. I hope I haven't lost anyone. Yeah? Now it's time that you now ask yourself the uncomfortable questions. Based on what you've seen in your circle, is there any number there? Is there any category you've listed there that surprises you? For example, maybe money. You found out that it was 2, and you would like it to be an 8 or maybe a 10. Or maybe for those who put spirituality, it's 8 and you're happy with that, but maybe something else, family, is less. So how do you feel about that life circle you just created? Now, if there's one that is actually low and you would like it to be a 10, what do you think you can do right now? Well, starting from now to make it a 10. Or for you, which of the categories do you think you can improve on? Is there a way you can make space in your life to start improving on this? If you want to do that, but you don't know how, what kind of help and support do you need from others to make this possible? And if you're trying to make this possible, what are the first changes you need to make? All part of self-awareness. So this is all what life coaching starts with. So some of us have specific things we know we want to work on, if it's academic, if it's career, if it's finance, if it's relationships. But some of us might not know that that is what we need to work on. Maybe there might be other factors that might be affecting your ability to get that. But this is a question you ask yourself to see what is hindering you from hopefully achieving what you would like to achieve, right? So let's look at career. Now, assuming, example, you felt, yeah, career is what I would like to focus on more, which I'm assuming why most of you are here. So I decided I will focus more on career as the main example. So some of us here are in different stages. Some of us are maybe leaving just high school, or we're leaving, college or university, or starting a career. Or some of us have already been in one and we're kind of like switching or changing to another career. Or some of us are in between right now. We're trying to navigate, explore, find our way, right? Where maybe I'll do this, I'll do that. I've done a bit of this, but I'm not too sure what catches my attention, what I'm good at. It's all fine. It's all good, right? So there are a few steps you can follow, right? Or steps I would recommend. Do a bit of self-assessment, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, knowing your skills, knowing what you're good at, because that is a key factor to you doing what you would like to do, being also good at it. Now, for those who are not sure, okay, how do I get to know my skills, my strength? There's a psychologist called Howard Gardner. He coined up the multiple intelligence assessment. He said that human beings have 8 types of intelligences, and I shared it on the screen there. I'm hoping it's not too small. I'll just roughly go through the 8 with you. So he said people have 8 types. Some are really strong enough, some are just a bit average, and some are not too strong. Now, if you do your assessment and you find the ones that are not too strong, don't feel bad. We're human beings. We can't have all 8 strong enough unless you're some form of super genius, which I believe there are, but that is a very rare situation. So you might have a few, 2 or 3 or 4, really good in you, some average and some weak. Right? So let's look at the first one, which is musical smart, also known as musical intelligence. Those are people who, they're very good at music. They can play any instrument just like that. You see them, they become conductors, composers, they write music, they can sing as well. We have people who are more body smart, but we call that bodily kinesthetic, who are more hands-on, right? They need to be doing in order to understand. That's why you see footballers, sports athletes, and exotic dancers, right? People who do all those contemporary, they express themselves through dance. People smart, we call those people interpersonal intelligence people. People who are more emotionally intelligent. They work well with people. They like to engage with people. You find that they work in that kind of field, like they become maybe teachers, they become coaches, like they do customer service because they are constantly working with people. If they're not working with people, they're not at their best. Then we have people who are word smart. We call that verbal linguistic. People who are more into reading and listening in order to understand, right? See people like presenters, newscasters, that's what they do well. They can read off the teleprompts instantly without having to think twice of what is that. They just read it automatically, like they've always been reading that, because that's where their intelligence lies. Then we have the logical, mathematical. People who like calculations, science. I'm sure when we're in school, so we saw those students who were really good in physics, chemistry, and math, and you're like, why? Maybe you try twice as hard to be average, and they just put little effort, and they excelled. They go on to be scientists, engineers, professors, right? And then we have those who are naturalistic. They love nature. They love to be outdoors. That is where they feel really, really themselves. So you find people who are more like zoologists, botanists, park rangers, archaeologists, people who are always out there, geologists in the environment, because that is where their intelligence lies. Then we have self-smart. We call that intrapersonal. That's kind of like opposite to the interpersonal. People who like to be alone, right? We call them introverts. Once upon a time, we felt being an introvert was the wrong thing. You need to be talking to people, but no, find out that that's how people deal with their world. They like to be alone. That's how they process their emotions, that they process themselves, they process the environment around them. You find out that some of them want to be authors. Authors, when they write books, they travel to secluded places where they're alone with their thoughts so they can express themselves properly, right? And there's a little joke that sometimes accountants are also introverts, but that is arguable. Then the last one, picture smart. We call those people visual, people who like to see in order to understand both the naked eye and the mind's eye. So architects, graphic designers, interior designers. We find out that some of us might have gone into those lines of work, but we find out that we didn't excel because probably that's not where your intelligence was. So self-assessment is key to knowing what you are strong at. So if you're interested in taking this self-assessment, I can share the link with you so you can connect with me after the presentation, and I can take you through how you can get that self-assessment done. It doesn't take too long, roughly 10 minutes, so long as you do it properly and you can get to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Another step you need to consider is skill development. Now, let's say you know this is what I'm good at, this is what I want to do. Then you need to get the necessary knowledge and experience needed in order to be able to do the job, right? We know how it works in the world where you find it, you're a job you like, but then you need to prove to people that you have the right knowledge and the appropriate skill or the experience to be able to take on that job. So that is also something you would need to consider. Another step to consider, exploring opportunities. Research industries and roles. Look into areas that align in your interests and your strengths. Do a bit of networking. For those who love going out and meeting with people, there are always networking events out there. For those who are more of introverts who don't like doing that, then there's this online networking, LinkedIn, a very, very good site, which I recommend everyone should have a profile or create in order to be able to meet people who are doing the same thing they would love to, or just connecting with people who can give you advice or connect you with industries or people in the line of what you would like to do. And then there's also shadowing and volunteering. Some people say, oh, I've applied to that role so many times, but I can never get that job. How do I get the experience then? That's what you can do. You can volunteer. Volunteering, although you might not get paid, does not cancel the experience you get from that. So you can volunteer and do the job if you have the time, and that goes on your resume. They cannot take that away from you. You have the experience. Some people don't consider that. They think most of the experience they need is when they're paid to do it. And I always tell my students, no, right? You can get that experience even though you're not paid to do it. Then setting goals as well. You need to have a system in place. You can have a short-term goal, 1 to 2 years, or a long-term goal, 5 to 10 years, depending on whatever your focus is. But of course, if you're having a goal, I'm sure you've all heard of this SMART goal. For those who may not have, the SMART stands for specific, which means you know exactly what it is you're going for. So be specific about it. Don't be like, I think it might be, or it sounds like, or it looks like. I'm not too sure what you need to be specific. You need to know exactly what it is you want to do. Also, you need to be able to measure it, measure your progress. So for example, a student who goes to school and says, I want to be a medical office assistant. How do you know that you're on track to becoming one? Well, maybe monitoring each program or each course you complete. You finish the first course, you successfully completed it. That's you're measuring your progress. Okay, I'm on the right track. I'm taking the second course. I'm successfully completing it. So you need to be able to measure, track your progress to achieving your goal. Speaking of achieving, that is the third word, A. You must have the ability to be able to accomplish it, not just create a goal just because, okay, let me just have a goal or a plan. No, you need to be able to achieve it, accomplish it as well. And it has to be realistic as well. I mean, for someone who doesn't like blood, you probably would not want to be a surgeon, right? True. I created a schedule once upon a time. I said I was going to start eating healthy, right? So I went online, I found all these delicious meals. I created a timetable Monday to Sunday, morning, afternoon, evening. I had this whole thing set up and I felt good and proud of myself. I pasted it on my fridge. It's like, I'm going to start eating right. First day, okay, fine. Second day, I struggled. Third day, I quit. Why? 1, I didn't have the time to do that. 2, I didn't really enjoy most of the meals because they were veggies. I'm more of a meat guy. And 3, they were kind of expensive to create. So that was something that was unrealistic for me. And I set that goal, which was unrealistic. And then the fifth one is time. You should have a time frame. Now, if you say, oh, I want to do this, but there's no time to it, then it's more like a dream than a goal. A goal should have a time frame by when you want to accomplish it by. So in 2 years, I want to have completed my diploma or my degree, or in 5 years, I want to have achieved this. You must have a time frame to it. It's very, very important because it gives you something you're working towards. It gives you that focus, that drive, and it also builds that bit of motivation, something to focus on, something to work at. Now, I know most of you are thinking, it's just follow the steps and it happens just like that. People are thinking, yeah, we've tried this before. It's easier said than done. And probably, yes, I'm saying now it sounds much easier to say than to actually do, which is true. But then again, that is why they are professionals. They are experts in this line of work, in this field that can guide and support you. We have mentors, we have counselors. And if you only knew a coach who could help you. The thing is that people do not know they need us until they use us. When I finished my life coaching certificate, I felt, okay, I know it all now. Let me get to work. And I struggled. Until someone told me that, yeah, you know that you also need a coach, right? I mean, a life coach also needs a coach. So I actually hired a coach. Yeah. I had this lady to coach me on how to start my business, how to start meeting people, how to get my target market, my niche market. Funny thing is, my coach also had a coach. She told me about her coach that she paid about 50 grand a year. And, and she was happy with the coach. So, and that coach also had a coach. Everyone needs a coach at some point in time. Maybe you've had one and you didn't know. Maybe you are one to someone and you don't know. Right? But everyone needs that support, that guidance. Some, no harm in saying this, might need a bit more help than others. So, thing is, don't be hesitant or don't be afraid to access that help. So in as much as, yes, it sounds easier said than done, there's support out there that you can use and you can get. So to summarize this whole thing, we all have our goals. Even if your goal is to have a goal, but how comes down to self-actualization, knowing what your goal is. Is it a life goal? Is it a career goal? Or is it an academic goal? Then there are steps and strategies you need to take in order to do this as well. You need to have a plan, a smart plan. Start applying the steps. One of it is also to access the support you will need. So this journey creates and takes a lot of knowing oneself. Like I said, self-awareness is a key thing. And it's a good thing as well. It's a good challenge. So when next someone asks you, what song or movie portrays your life? What answer would you give? Thank you. Now, we'll be taking questions, and I hope I have the answers. So I tried to make the PowerPoint slide really, really short so we could do a bit more of conversation thing, so make it a bit more interactive, because I felt like I was doing more of teaching. So please feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, and I will be happy to answer, if I can answer it. Questions, please. And if you're a little shy, probably introvert, I think you can also type in your questions. I think some people sent some questions in before the presentation. I think someone asked this question that how do you pick up your career after maternity leave or something like that? If I'm correct, if you're here, please correct me. But that was a question I got. Now, as a coach, we don't have answers. We don't say, oh, this is what you would do, and you need to do that, you need to do this. No. So what a coach does is we kind of throw those questions back at you, those thought-provoking questions, and you get to decide. You get to think about it. Again, self-awareness. So yes, okay, you're off maternity leave. You want to go back to work. What were you doing previously? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Were you good at it? Now, you want to go back to work. Is that something you want to follow? Is that something you can do? Is that something that is realistic? Not that you have a kid or you have kids. The time you spent doing that, do you have enough time to do that? Yes, no. If no, then maybe that might not be an option for you. So what do you think will give you that time, that flexibility you have to do what you want to do? Is it a job that you going to work or something you can do at home? If it's at home, what are the things you can do at home that will give you that time? It's kind of like now starts to narrow your options down. So based on the questions a coach will throw at you, you get to decide. So that is how the coaching works. So unfortunately, I can't give you all the answers, but I can only guide you every step. So sometimes it might be a big goal you might have at the end. Okay, I think I would like to be working in global supply chain management, but I have no idea how that works, but I think I'm good at it. All right, then let's start from scratch. What makes you think you're good at it? That would be the first question. You need to tell why you think you're good at it. It might make you think, well, am I? Then those doubts will arise, right? Set yourself goals. Okay, go back and think about that. And let's meet next week. Basically, that is how it works. So it's not the case where you see people like, I'm not like Tony Robbins, where I stand and I control the whole crowd and empower them and tell them that. No. And I'm not as articulate or as intelligent as Simon Sinek, where I throw those, thoughts at you. Mine is just a one-on-one process I'm happy to work with you on. So we both work through it together. That is what I've been doing for my clients in the past, which I can tell you that there's been a high success rate doing that. That's why I'm here to share this kind of information with you as well. So please try and take away some key points I've talked about here. And of course, please, if you still feel you might need more information, maybe I lost you along the way, or some key things you didn't understand, and you, like I said, you're not able to ask the questions here, you can connect with me after the presentation, and I will be happy to help. Ariba, yes, I can see your hand is raised.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm going to ask you a question. That how can I make myself a priority to make a life change for work to help my family? I have 3 jobs.
Okay. I'm sorry, I think the connection was bad, but let me tell you what I think I heard. You said you're trying to make a career change and you have 2 jobs.
No. How can I make myself a priority to make a life change for work? I have like 3 jobs and I am trying to help my family.
Okay, you have 3 jobs and you're trying to help your family.
Yeah, but I want to give myself a bit.
Wow. Well, that's first of all, well done on you. 3 jobs, it must be tough, right? So it depends. So the 3 jobs you do you like those 3? Is there one you like or none?
I have to do them because the surviving in this country is very, very tough. So I do 3 different types of jobs. Sometimes I work in the office and I work on a takeout. Of course, there is a big gap between these jobs. Like the nature of each job is very different. So of course, I don't like those jobs. Like I would love to work on computer, but I don't love the takeout job as much. So yeah.
Okay, I think we can all relate to that. That you're
also like working in different areas. How can I identify my strengths, weakness, and transferable skills?
How can you identify your strengths and your weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who don't know, I kind of teach as well on the side. So my students actually ask me this question, and this might be, I say it as a joke, but it's actually a serious thing, and I would encourage you to try it. Sometimes when you want to know your strengths, particularly your weaknesses, ask the people who know you very well. So if you're married, ask your spouse, ask your siblings, ask your parents, assuming you're on good terms with them, ask your close friends, but be careful how you approach this, because sometimes this might tend to arguments, because they might start to tell you true things about yourself. Like, okay, so tell me, what are my weaknesses? What am I not good at? They might say, are you sure you want to hear this? Yeah. And they start telling you things, and it might hurt. It might hurt because you're like, no, I'm not like that. So be careful how you approach this, because but you have to approach it with an open mind, because they're not saying it to hurt you. They're just telling you what you've asked. So part of this might be a very, very deep process, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're not good at. It's good to know that. So a way you can find out is asking the people who know you very well. Some people are able to tell you, okay, yes, I know what I struggle with. I know what I'm good at. And those people, like I said, some people are very lucky in that aspect. Some of us, we might need that help. We need to ask for help. We need to ask for that assistance. So the people closest to you might be the first you will ask, right? I would not suggest ask people who always constantly compliment you, like, oh, no, you're good in everything. You look good in everything. You're fine. You're perfect. They might not be able to tell you the truth. So ask people who might. And that's why I said maybe parents or your spouse, good friends. If it's a good friend, that person will tell you. Now, if it comes to you wanting to know your, like I said, your intelligence, what you are actually very, very good at in that sense, then I would suggest use the Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. I can provide you with the link later. So how this works is there'll be about, let's say, 75 questions, A to E. Now it could be most like you, kind of like you, neutral, not like you, totally not like you. Those are the 5 options. So it will ask you a question. I like to work in the medical field. You would take whatever you think is related to you, but you need to be honest with your answer. Because if you feel I should be this, and you think you put the answer, by the time and you do that for all, by the time it now generates your answer, it will not give you an accurate answer. So that is another option you could choose. You could use both of them. You could actually ask people, and you could do the assessment as well. The assessment is not brutal. You can handle that one. But then again, the people you ask, they will give you more of a direct answer. It might be a bit brutal, but I mean, you have a goal in mind, right? To know what your strength is and what you're good at. Now, hopefully you get to know that. You can now start moving in the direction of what suits you, what you are good at, right? If I was to ask you all now, because anybody guess what they think my intelligence is out of all the 8 I called, if you can remember them, I'm sure most of you would guess. I think his is more of interpersonal, which is true. Yes, I'm more of a social person. I interact. I find out that much later in life. I wish I knew that much of when I was younger. So I'm still here for questions. But if you don't have any, you can have a great day. Abimbola, you raised your hand up?
Yes, I think I have a question, but I don't know how to phrase it. So, so what if you already have like a career path, something I've been doing for a really long time, and you feel you're good at it, but you feel like you can do something else, or there's something else that you feel you can do, but you're just not sure what exactly that is. How do you make that decision? Like if you want to actually switch, but you're not sure what you want to switch to.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. First of all, I would just go a bit backwards and say you use this word a lot, feel. And so it means that is like you're not sure, it's a feeling you have. I will first of all work on that feeling. Why do you feel that way? What gives you that feeling? Because sometimes, yes, go on.
So feeling maybe based on maybe recommendations you get from like on the job, you get recommendations, and I mean you get feedback that your work is good, you're doing it so well, and I mean all of those things, accolades that you get based on how well you're handling the tasks or whatever that is, but you just don't have that fulfillment yet. Like you feel like you can do something else.
Okay, then you've answered the first question. So that feeling you're getting is because you don't have the fulfillment. Somebody has told you you're doing a good job, so you don't. If somebody tells you you're doing a good job, then you know you're doing a good job. But if you still get that feeling, there's a little bit of doubt. Then that doubt you explore. Okay, they say I'm doing a good job, but I still don't feel it. Now that is what you need to explore. So if you're not feeling that job, you think there might be something else out there. That is where I also talked about exploring other opportunities. What do you feel might feel better you doing?
Okay, and does this relate to like personal development as well?
Self-awareness.
Okay.
Personal development comes under self-awareness, but being able to be aware, okay, so you've a good start. You have that feeling. Something is nagging at the back of your head. Yes, I'm doing the job. I'm excelling at it, but there's something else. There's something more. There has to be more. Is there more? Then you need to explore that. Some people struggle. They don't know how to start. Some people are very good at just, jumping from one thing to another and they excel at it. But like I said, if you feel you need that help, then you can reach out and get that support. Some people have that option to do a lot of what's it called? They explore different options, right? They go to a career guidance counselor, right? And they give them those options. Okay, look at this option, look at that option, look at this option, and they test it out. They see and like, nah, this is good. No, that is not it. Some people get that option as well. It might not be available to everyone, but if you can explore those options, why not? You can reach out to people in those fields as well, that line of work. Reach out to them and ask, what's your job about? What do you do? How does that work? What does it entail? What kind of knowledge you need to have? What kind of educational background? What kind of qualification? So they might tell you, oh yeah, you need to go to school for another 7 years. And you're like, okay, 7 years, I don't think I can do that. And then you rule that option out. So it's about getting that information as well to know what's, yeah. But once you get that feeling, then that's something you need to start exploring. Yeah. Some people might have that certainty, that clarity. Yes, this is it. This is what I'm meant to be doing. There's no other thing I could have done in this world. And I envy those people. You see a lot of sports athletes, right? You know that, there's nothing else they could have done. That is what they should have done, right? You see movie stars, people that sing, there's nothing else they would have done. That's what they were put on earth to do. Even you say, this person was put on earth to do it. They just know, right? But we're not all fortunate that way to know. And that's where I need that help.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your question, though. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
All right, so I guess if there are no other questions coming in, again, I encourage you to please feel free to reach out to me. We can rub minds. I can share thoughts, ideas with you. Feel free to ask your questions. It's now or never, okay? And I'll be happy to connect. Other than that, I bid you all wherever you are, a good day, and hopefully we'll get to connect sometime in the nearest future. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day too.